Hello everyone, welcome to the Street Talk section where we talk about what happened on Coronation Street this week. Oh, what a week.
It wasn't as what a week as last week, I have to say.
Still pretty dramatic.
It was. Monday's episode was awesome, despite that fringe.
Oh, shut up.
And I don't think that the other stories held up as well as the Yasmeen. I mean, they had a lot to live up to, but I did find that with some of the other stories, I wasn't being quite engaged. And every time something came up that wasn't in the Yasmeen story, I was just like going, come on, get out of the way. Gary, I'm not interested. Shut up, Paul, just deal with her living with you. I'm not interested in what's wrong with Ollie. What's happening with Yasmeen?
Well, I thought it was all good.
Did you?
First episode, obviously, is the Yas fighting storyline where we discover what happened post-stabbing with Geoff. Then we've got Kelly's Gary D and Angel.
I've got a really bad storyline tales this week.
Gary D and Angel. Gary and Kelly.
Basically.
Then we've got Asher Flash's Nina Bashers. Very good.
She did do a bit of a this week, didn't she, old Nina? Yeah. Gloves are off.
They are. David, just David.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
And then the serious case of the Ollie Wobbles, a bit more about...
Yeah, they're very, very little. They're dripping that, aren't they?
They're doing the same thing with that they did with the Geoff and Yasmeen story.
Starting it slow because they've got plenty of time to carry on this story. Wait. So, Joey, go on. You can take the lead for the Yasmeen story this week then.
So Friday's episode was the first half of a two-part intended episode double.
Yasmeen and Geoff special.
And so Monday picks up as though we were coming back from the break.
It was so much better having the weekend.
It was really good.
Whereas before it'd be like, I do have to wait half an hour, or even if like, you maybe you record it at 7:30 and just watch it all from 8 till 9, which we've done before. This time it was a whole 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
So we blur
3
in
days.
to Yasmeen standing over Geoff. She's looking at him with a mixture of shock and disgust. Because as you might remember, last time we saw the pair of them, she was glassing him in the throat.
Yeah, and old Geoff was jiggling it down on the floor.
On the floor, making a mess on the carpet. Sally and Tim walked past and they're a bit disgruntled because Sally had invited them to go to the bistro for some kind of preview of the menu. And they didn't go because Yasmeen and Geoff left early because of all the drama. And everyone is a bit annoyed and they think that Yasmeen is in the wrong because she made a scene. And so they're talking about this and Sally says we should just check in to see if Yasmeen's all right because she was acting so strangely. They knock on the doorbell and they give up because there's no reply. Yasmeen is in the house and she's refusing to answer the door. She's more that crouched down. Well, she's just
in shock. She's in a daze. She's got a potentially. Well, she's convinced that Geoff's dead. Even when the police arrive later, she's like, "No, you wait."
So she's on the floor, crouched down with her dress on, wiping the blood off on there. Luckily, it's a red dress. Very clever wardrobe choice there from that department to get away with being able to show this at 7:30.
That's true.
She goes and starts to wash her hands, and it's Geoff's control on her is still evident. It probably isn't so evident now because she's singing Happy Birthday, which is something that everyone has to do now to wash their hands. But at the time, the reason why she was singing Happy Birthday was because Geoff had told her that she has to wash her hands properly, and that's how to do it.
That's really interesting because when that first Happy Birthday came into the show back in March, people were like, oh, that's because we're all having to do that now. Yeah. And the writers had to say, no, it's not, that was just in it. So I wonder whether if everything hadn't been going on, would we have watched this on Monday and why is she singing Happy Birthday? Would we have forgotten? Because it was just an off-the-cuff remark, wasn't it, that Geoff made before?
Okay.
And it only stayed in our head.
No, it didn't. I know, I've known about this for years.
What?
What how to wash your hands?
Yeah, no, I do as well. I know
that it would have. I know that I would have known.
Okay.
I'm telling you. You might not have.
I wouldn't have remembered.
But I would have remembered that.
Okay.
And I'm not just tooting my own horn. It's because I've had a thing about this for about 3 years now. And I used to be very proud about the fact that I knew how to wash my hands properly. Now everybody knows, so there's no point.
There's another skill to cross off the old CV.
There's no point in boasting about this anymore. God damn.
It's like your key skills GCSE, Gemma. Everyone's got it now.
Everyone can use Word.
Yeah, you can't. But
cross that
word
one out.
processing skills.
So...
But can everybody record a podcast?
Yeah, now they can. Again, there's another skill we've
Oh,
all
yeah.
learned. So, yeah, they're gossiping about Yasmeen and the Rovers, aren't they? And a lot of people were mad about this.
Yeah, there was Carla there, Peter, Kathy, Brian.
Eileen.
Eileen's kind of standing on the edge of it.
Eileen was just listening and kind of giving everybody the side eye a little bit there. She says, I saw Geoff and Yasmeen, and it did seem actually as though Geoff was the one that had a cob on, not Yasmeen. So she's sort of standing up a little bit here and saying, this accepted narrative that we've made of Yasmeen being the one in the wrong, I'm not going to go along with that. I know what I saw, and it wasn't that.
I've seen lots of people going, sort of really saying they hate Kathy and Eileen at various points during this week, and it's not been clear to me which side of the fence, especially Kathy, has been on this, because on the one minute she's having a bit of a gossip about it, and the other minute she's going, yeah, but hang on a minute, and today she was saying, I feel guilty. Why didn't we notice before? So
okay, I am getting a bit fed up with people who are so judgy of people that are actually being written pretty realistically. And I think it was quite good of Corrie to have Kathy wavering back and forward of going, no, Yasmeen's a bitch. She was horrible to me. She's not normally like that, though. Wonder why. Oh, she's a librarian. She's so uptight.
They did keep mentioning her. This is the first time in years that Yasmeen's ex-librarian status has been mentioned. And it was like 3 call-outs on Mondays, isn't it?
Kathy was rejected
she's a closed book.
To her face by Yasmeen, who basically kicked her out of her house. And she is going to feel betrayed and hurt. Rightly or wrongly, she's still a human being and she doesn't know what's happened. And if you're going to blame Kathy and Brian, I think Brian's the least sympathetic, to be honest.
He is. He's the most gossipy.
You're ignoring the fact that people can know couples who are in the situation and never realise that this is going on behind closed doors. It's not anyone's responsibility. You can't lay the blame on people, on acquaintances and friends, and say it's their fault. I think it's really unfair.
Yeah, no, I've got no... I don't.
People
I hate Kathy for
people
her
who live in
week.
these relationships often have trouble recognising what's going on, let alone people that only really ever see the best side of an abuser.
Yeah.
Because Geoff has taken great pains to present himself as an incredibly nice person to everybody. I just think people are being really harsh all the way through this storyline. Everybody is just so blinkered about taking Yasmeen's side, and I think at that...
Because we all love Yasmeen.
I know, but you're missing out on so much nuance if you do that. And self-examination as well. Like, would you really act the way you think you would? No, you wouldn't. You only think that because you've seen Yasmeen going through it. And only Geoff and Yasmeen know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And Geoff's cameras.
Ooh. So, Geoff's phone then starts to ring and he gets a text from Faye sort of talking about, oh, granddad, blah, blah. And she just kind of, I think this brings her back to earth a little bit. Yeah. And so she dials 999 and she says, I need...
No, they say, who do you want?
Well, they're like, hello, 999, how may I help you?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
And they're like, and she doesn't know what to say. And then they said, do you want fire, police, ambulance, Coast Guard, maybe? And she says, I've just killed my husband. So immediately they send the police and the ambulances. Everyone's gossiping in the Rovers. They hear the sirens and they realise that they're not just passing through. They're stopping. They see the ambulance is outside Geoff and Yasmeen's house, and it's an ambulance, and they think immediately it's his heart because he's been bigging up that he's got heart problems this whole time. They're confused when the police are there as well. What is going on? We cut to inside the house. Yasmeen is on the sofa with a police officer. They're asking her questions about who are you, who's this? And she keeps saying, there's no point trying to help him, he's dead. Tim comes running in and tells the PC that he's Geoff's son. And then the paramedic says, there's faint breathing here, we better get him quickly to the hospital. So, Geoff is not dead, everybody, in case you were wondering. Because we didn't know last week
if he was
going to live or die, but
we said,
prediction.
He said he wasn't
For
going to be dead
storyline
yet.
purposes,
There is
it
still
has to be.
a lot more
There's
that
a lot
needs
more
to be
to come.
told, and it needs to
And
be. He needs to be alive.
If you're sick of this storyline, you better just stop watching just stop watching the show and ruining it for everyone else because it's not going to stop.
There's a long way to go.
There is a long way to go, I think. They put him into the ambulance. Ryan's there, phones Alia, and only gets her answer phone because she's still bigging it up in Spain.
No, she doesn't. He doesn't. I wrote that down, but that doesn't actually happen.
Okay.
He said that he's spoken to Alia and she's taking the first flight home.
I think she was screening his calls.
And then he said he's going to phone her again.
Okay, so
We watched it for the second time earlier this evening, didn't we?
yeah, we did. We watched a few bits and we'll get to that. Yasmeen then is brought out, and nobody knows what's going on. They see Geoff being loaded into the ambulance. They see Yasmeen looking upset. They're like, "Oh, don't worry, Yasmeen. Everything all right? Are you okay? You can come with me to the hospital. Let's go." And the police officer's like, "She's going nowhere. She's coming to the station with us." And then they basically say, they shove her into the police car.
We're just going to publicly arrest you in front of your friends and neighbours.
Does she get arrested there?
I think so.
So they don't put cuffs on her, which I think was very interesting and strange. And you see a really brilliant shot of Yasmeen sitting in the police car, in the back of the police car, and the reflection is Sally's face.
I didn't even notice that the first time.
And so you see both women's face in the window of a police car.
Yeah.
Really good.
Sally is the key to this, I think. Throughout the week, she's like, I don't completely believe you, Geoff. She's going to be on Yasmeen's side. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Friction in the Metcalfe household.
Yasmeen's saying, "Tell him I'm sorry, please," etc., etc. And Tim's got into the ambulance, gone to the hospital with Geoff, and we introduced to a new character, who is a police officer.
Yeah, I don't think that we see this other one again. It's the
well, no, I know. I
don't.
This isn't the new one. I think I've seen this woman before in the show as a police officer, but she says, "I need all your clothes, and here's a tracksuit." And again, it's really symbolic of like stripping Yasmeen's dignity, like quite literally.
Well, it is as well, and it reminded me of it was like the scene where she was having to undress for Geoff.
Yeah.
As well, just last week.
Yeah, and
even Yasmeen has to ask the officer to help her with a zip and everything.
Yeah.
That officer was just she wasn't criticising or anything.
Well, no, she just said, "I just need your clothes. Give me your clothes."
Yeah, she seemed to be sympathetic, but it's just the
Then
job.
we get the knight in shining armour. Lovely Imran turns up, and he is so nice and sweet, and initially Yasmeen is saying, "Oh, I don't know the passwords. I don't know how to get on there. Alia's got money," and everyone's like, "No, you don't need to pay me money. Tell me what happened."
Shut up, Yasmeen. Don't need money. Just gossip.
Oh my god, babes, tell me what happens. So,
did you hear about Geoff? Oh my god, he's on life support, man.
Do you know you nearly killed your husband? It is well bad. So go on anyway. Just what happened? Was he being a dick? So he's saying, "Look, were you drinking? Did you have an argument? Are they going to find your fingerprints on the wine bottle?" And Yasmeen's like, "I hit him and it was quiet." And it's like, yeah, well, we all know how that is when someone just won't shut up. Then we have Ryan in the Rovers. He's talking about, "I can't get hold of Alia," and he talks about Yasmeen, and he knows that there was this abuse with Yasmeen, and she's been pushed to the breaking point. Then a cop comes in to the pub and asks around, finds Kathy and Brian. They say, "Yeah, we're friends," and so they get questioned. Brian's gossiping, and Kathy's like, It's difficult to tell now I think about it, what was going on between them, but it's clear they had an argument, and she's saying, "Oh, they haven't been married for very long," and trying to be helpful, but they're very confused now because they're not all just jumping on the bandwagon of, well, she's an awful woman, she definitely had tried to kill her husband, They're like, "What? That's weird. What happened? Well, I don't really know." So Sally takes Faye to go and see Geoff at the hospital, and Tim's there, and he's like, "We shouldn't have brought Faye. Granddad's gonna die." Faye's like saying, "Hang in there, we need you." And then Tim saying to Sally, "Well, where's Yasmeen? She should be here." And Sally's like, "I think she did it. She's been arrested." Tim can't believe this, And he says, Geoff is very weak. He's got a very slow pulse. We might need to prepare ourselves. And poor Faye's sitting there like, oh.
I think I'd feel more sorry for Faye at this point if we'd seen,
Any
more than a
bonding at all.
handful of scenes between Faye and Geoff over the course of the last 2 years nearly. But I'm sure they've been in a couple of scenes together.
Yeah, I know. I'm more just thinking about how I felt when my granddad was in hospital.
Yeah.
Because, for lots of kids, that's your first time that you realise that grown-ups are not immortal.
Well, Faye's mum's dead.
I know. So she can shut up milking it then, can't she?
Faye's mum's dead and her foster mum stabbed Phelan to death. She knows what death is.
Yes, she does, Michael. Where are we? So DS Abney, we're introduced to, as I call her on Twitter, DS Fringe McBangs, because she has an amazing haircut. And I don't know why people are saying they don't like it. And it's a bad haircut. It is not a bad haircut. You can not like it if you want to, but it is a very well executed haircut. And it's chic and it's fashionable. And I think she's great. Yasmeen is in shock. She's disorientated. She doesn't really know what's happened still. She's kind of hysterical. You've got DS Abney, you've got anonymous police sidekick, and you've got Imran all in the room with this interview. And she's saying things like, he wasn't moving, blood, knife. And Imran's like, maybe we shouldn't be asking her questions at the moment. She's in shock. And then the police officer's like, we don't need to ask her what happened. She already told us. Play the 999 call. And then you hear Yasmeen going, hello, yes, it's Yasmeen. I killed my husband. If you could go and take his corpse away, it'd be great.
And Imran's like,
oh,
bloody hell, Yasmeen.
Why do I... God, I should have asked her for money. Yasmeen said he was...
I have to work overtime for this one, get you out of this.
I think he's probably just thinking, well, I guess I don't need to put too much effort into this. It's only shut, isn't it?
It's only veggie lasagna for tea tonight. I don't mind.
Yasmeen's going to be in veggie lasagna in prison.
Oh, is that what they give them?
I don't know. It sounds awful, so probably. Yasmeen was saying he was going on and on and on, and I just wanted it to stop. And then Imran says, can we please stop the interview? And DS Abney says, yes, fine, and they terminate the interview. Then there's a cut, which is a bit of a weird cut, because normally, again, we were talking about last week, you cut away to show time passing to a different group of characters, but instead we cut to Imran and DS Abney in another room, in sort of a staff room, I suppose, I guess, having a drink, coffee room. And he's saying it's self-defense. And I just really like DS Abney. I think people are so harsh because they're on Yasmeen's side, and I got lectured on Twitter and in messages by people.
You fought back?
Who were, yeah, I know, I did. I stood my ground and I said, no, she's not said anything wrong. And if you think police officers are there to not make judgment calls based on people confessing and standing over bodies with blood on their hands, I think you're being a bit naive, really. The police officer's job is not to be nice to people who've committed crimes. Their job is to find out what happened. And sometimes you have to be a bit cruel to somebody and a bit insistent to get them to tell you what happened.
It just came off a little bit off to me, and I'm not going to start trying to argue with this because I know that I'm not going to win here. But the scenes with her in came across as feeling a little bit off, and it felt like she was kind of going, get out of this one then, Yasmeen. And it was clear.
I'm sorry,
Yasmeen,
what is she supposed to think? A woman phones the police and says, I've killed my husband. Police go round there. He's on the floor. She's got blood on her hands. There's a wine bottle with her fingerprints on. And she's like, yeah, I killed my husband. And what are you supposed to do then? Go, oh, what did he do? He must have been horrible to you.
But she was pushing Yasmeen too hard when she was clearly in a state of shock. Yasmeen was couldn't even get a sentence
As soon as Imran said, we need to stop, she said, fine, let's stop. People were having a go at me and saying, no, she was being too harsh, and you're saying the same thing. And I said, okay, I hold my hand up, I'll probably need to watch it again. Watched it again today, and I stand by exactly what I said. She could have been a lot worse. She could have been really horrible. She's sitting across from somebody who's tried to murder someone. She doesn't know the full extent of the situation and the circumstances, because all she knows is what she's literally been told by the person who committed the crime. At no point was she unnecessarily cruel or harsh, but she was insisting that Yasmeen tell her what happened. And when she said, I mean, wouldn't you be a bit smug if you're a police officer and you're like, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. And you're like, well, we know what happened because you already told us, actually.
She
let's
came
play the
across
tape.
as a bit snide. It was almost like, she hasn't been able to send anyone down for a good long time. And she's like, I got this one in the bag.
Yeah.
Like, even D.S. McKinnon's managed to get more crims sent behind bars than me in the last month. Well, I'm going to overtake her with this one.
You're a police officer. You spend all day long with people who are, frankly, scummy, horrible bottom feeders, burglarising people, beating up grannies, committing all kinds of crimes. And then, so you're supposed to treat people differently depending on whether they're middle class or older because she's got nice hair. People really, really want us to have a justice system where the police treat people differently according to whether they're a nice looking old lady compared to a scallywag young kid. They should be treating everyone the same, and unfortunately, if you're a police officer, that means treating everybody like scum.
I think at the time as well, and people were saying, but Yasmeen's got in touch with the police, or she's been talking to the police before, and she's been looking into Claire's law and everything, and maybe they're assuming that Abney should know about this, and it seems clear that she didn't know about
or
it. She did.
So what's her first responsibility? To immediately get that woman into an interview room to find out from her what happened. Can you tell me what happened? Or should she be going off looking in the records just to see if there's any information? No, because if she let Yasmeen sit and think, if Yasmeen was a cold-blooded murderer, if this was Geoff in that seat, people would be clamouring for her to be horrible. Anyway, she needs to get Yasmeen in that room before she's had a chance, if she were a cold-blooded criminal, to think of a reason and an explanation and some kind of cover story. You don't let people sit around thinking up alibis for themselves. You get them in the interview room and you ask them, is that not the most basic way of investigating a crime? You get shouldn't be controversial. I feel like I'm crazy. I feel like everyone's driving me crazy here. This police officer took somebody who confessed to a murder into an interview room and said, what happened? You don't remember? Might this jog your memory? I killed him. So what did you kill him or not?
I think,
and everyone's like, what a bitch. I'm just going to say this, a bit of misogyny maybe, because she's a strong woman asking questions. She's not allowed to be harsh.
Women. There's Beckett, there's McKinnon, there's Abney.
Yeah, they are, and they all get slagged off.
I think it's also people are a bit going, oh, here we go. So another Coronation Street character has been wrongfully accused of something, and they're going to get banged up, and everyone's going to...
Can I stop you? I know that there is extenuating circumstances here, but I also take great, what's the word?
Umbrage.
With this continual statement that people are saying that she didn't do a crime, she didn't commit a crime. She did. She stabbed him in the neck with a wine bottle. And unfortunately, whether or not she was provoked or if there was a reason, the crime was committed. There's nothing in the law books that says you're allowed to stab people that are mean to you.
Do you think that she did it in self-defence? Would it count as self-defence? Because I would say that last week we would say it was, but when Imran and Abney were talking and he was saying that, she was like, well, no, she hit him with the bottle. That could have been self-defence. But then when she stabbed him with a jagged end in the neck, she probably didn't need to do that. They
asked her what happened and she didn't say that. So far, DS Abney, all she's done is said, Yasmeen, what happened?
But Abney knows that there was the hit and the stab because of the wounds on him.
So what, you're not supposed to ask people questions if you think you already know the answers? That's ridiculous. And the other thing is, this was the initial stage of the investigation. Yes, she has to go and ask Yasmeen, whether she's upset or not, it doesn't make any difference. She has to go and ask her straight away. Because if she doesn't, people are going to be asking, why wasn't she immediately interviewed? And the whole thing could go wrong. She has to stick to, the procedures, surely, right? And that was the first part, the first step, the first stage. Of course she's going to ask Yasmeen what happened. And then, what does she do? She went and talked to Imran and she said, do you know what? This is what I think happened. And now I'm going to go and investigate. And then what did she do for the rest of the week? She effing investigated. And she's spoken to different people. And she didn't just go, well, I've interviewed Yasmeen. She did it. That's the end of it. Just Should we just send her off to court? She's investigating. She listened to Alia. She listened to Geoff. She doesn't know anything more than what Yasmeen's told her. But when she goes and talks to people, she listens to what they say. And she has to listen to what everybody says. And she's the one that said to Geoff, it's quite interesting to me that you said that you had 3 different women all attack you because they're all drunken harpies.
Tell you what, Jen, when she goes for inspector, she's going to put you down as a referee.
I'll go in, I'll fight somebody. I'll fist fight somebody for her.
I think we need to get back to the synopsis.
I'm just so mad about this because it's not so much that people are upset because Yasmeen is going through a tough time. It's that they can't stop and think the reason that I'm mad at DS Abney is because I feel so sympathetic to Yasmeen. If it was anybody else sitting in that interview room, if it was Gary being interviewed because he beat Rick Needham to death, nobody would be sympathetic and going, DS Abney's so mean to Gary. Why is she being so mean and asking him what he did when all he did was kill him in self-defence? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see.
I just feel like everyone's gone mad, apart from me. And her fringe is great. Anyway, I just had to get it off my chest because it's been really annoying me.
All week.
And I listened.
That.
I did go and watch, and I was perfectly prepared to be wrong and watch it back and go, no, she was being really harsh. But actually, when I watched it back today, I was like, she's even less bitchy than I thought she was.
I think the second time I watched it, I thought she's not as bad as I thought she was.
Watch it again. If you're prepared to give me even just the smallest amount of reasonable doubt that perhaps I might not just be insane and I might be just watch it again. Oh, I'm so mad.
What happened next, Gemma?
So anyway, so Imran and DS Abney are talking, and she's like, I don't think it was self-defense because she hit him twice, which is, fair enough. So she says, I'm not going to rush to charge her, but let's see if we'll speak to Geoff when he wakes up. But she does say, if he doesn't wake up, it's a completely different story.
Yeah. Here.
Imran goes back to Yasmeen and says, I'm there for you. And this was really sweet because he says...
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
He said, I know you stood by Rana when everyone else was being horrible to her. And
that was after the whole Kate. Rana
yeah, Kate, yeah. And I also need to point out that just because I think that DS Abney's doing a good job does not mean I don't feel sympathetic to Yasmeen, and I don't understand that she was traumatised and it was not really a great time to ask her questions. But she does get asked again later, doesn't she? So it's not like they went, well, you get one shot at an interview and you screwed it up, so you're not talking to you again. Imran says, listen, please, I need you to think before you speak, or just don't say anything at all. You need to give me an opportunity to build a case. You could be looking at a murder charge if he doesn't wake up. But you have to trust me, otherwise you're finished. So on Wednesday, poor Yasmeen we only see one scene with Yasmeen.
Oh yeah, that was the worst bit of Wednesday's episode. Only one Yasmeen scene on Wednesday.
Yeah, she.
Oh, Shelley, she's been working her socks off for the last couple of episodes. She needs a bit of a break.
She looks like she's losing her marbles.
Although they did have her cleaning the cell, didn't they?
She starts to clean the cell wall. I don't know enough about trauma, PTSD, and things like this to sort of say anything about.
It felt just kind of feels natural to her now. It's an instinct. So
I just felt that she was coming across as a bit brainwashed.
Yeah.
And
a bit loony. The cell cleaning was quite like the happy birthday when she was even with Geoff unconscious, she's still under his influence.
No, I think she's comforting herself for things that have fixed problems in the past.
Yeah, that's true. Things that have got her praise.
Yeah, perhaps.
Well done, you've done good cleaning. Well done, you've washed your hands.
Because I don't know that being brainwashed is the same as being and gaslighted and abused.
It's all mental manipulation.
I know it's slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it, but it just felt to me like she was a bit too like crazy woman in the attic.
Maybe she thought, if I make this cell spotless, DS Abney will treat me nicer next time.
No, she was being professional. Number 6, forensics are there taking photos, bagging the phone up, getting the knife. They're being watched by Geoff's camera, and we get to see them doing it through the screen of Geoff's.
Just find the camera.
I just need to point something
There's
out.
There's going to be a whole section of Coronation Street fans that will shut up including
I know
me,
it is. We need
when they find the camera.
We need somebody to just help us.
They keep showing it. And the more that they keep showing it, the more people are saying, why has nobody found the camera?
Can I just point something out that we have all... I think when we originally saw the camera, it wasn't... Didn't we see it was kind of like a bulky thing that went into the CD rack?
I think it was. Yeah, it wasn't, super hidden.
I think we're going to have to acknowledge that it's possible that Geoff may have replaced it with something that is virtually invisible, because it really is not logical that nobody has found this camera, especially Yasmeen, as she's been cleaning. Therefore,
really
we have to conclude that it is very well hidden or inside something else. It's not like nanny cams in the 90s, like a big circle inside a bear's stomach. It must be hidden
they've got
carefully.
They've got his phone now as well, haven't they? Which will have some evidence relating to the camera.
Not only that, will it have the video that he took of Yasmeen when he abused her?
I was
going, look at you idiot.
I hope that next week that they find that, because that's another lingering thing which is waiting to be found.
They took the phone. Are they allowed to look on the phone if they don't have a reason to?
I don't know what the law is.
I think you need a warrant. I think, they're not going to be able to get into it without his permission. I think if he says, yeah, go look at my phone, here's the code, I think they can just look on it. But if he's like, no, I want my phone back, I think they'd have to have a warrant to search it.
Yeah, you might. I remember them reading something about that when we were talking about, should you have a passcode or should you have your fingerprint?
Well, this is what I said to you about this.
Yeah.
This is my paranoia. I don't have.
They can't make you give your password, but they can.
Let me just explain it. Your fingerprint or your biometric data, by that I mean your eyes and scans and all this stuff, is first of all, you can never change it once it's been recorded. It's not like a password where if somebody gets it, you can change your password to something different. Your fingerprint's always your fingerprint. Your eye scan's always your eye scan. So you should never give that information to somebody unless you have no other option, because once they've got that data, they can use it whenever they like.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you are I think in the States, I don't know about in the UK, but they can. Your password is information that you don't have to give, but your fingerprint is part of your body and therefore is not a privileged piece of information.
Well, they take your fingerprints, don't they?
Well, no, but you don't use a fingerprint to unlock a phone. You use a finger.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you can't be compelled to give evidence against yourself, but your body can be.
It feels to me like the reason that they showed them taking the phone is because they are going to look into it. I can't see the point of them purposely showing them take the phone if they're just going to give it back to him.
I'm just a bit confused about that, but I'm showing my ignorance perhaps about how the law works. And if anybody knows any more, let me know. Don't tell me that you hate DS Abney though, because I'm not interested. I've heard enough about it already. Tim's in the hospital. If you're going to talk about people that are useless bastards who should be murdered, it's Tim, isn't it?
Oh, poor Tim. Poor dad in hospital.
If you're going to take the dislike to somebody for no apparent reason, which seems to be what people have done to DS Abney, then I feel fully able to just unleash on Tim.
Yeah, you can't say anything about his fringe though.
Ain't got one.
Ain't got anything.
What's worse? Anyway, no, I don't mean to be mean to Tim.
He's had a hard time this weekend, old Tim.
He's a bit worried and he's a bit confused. He's definitely fully on board with blaming Yasmeen without really critically examining whether that makes any sense.
You would, that's completely understandable.
But, at the same time, would it feel any less weird to just uncritically accept the fact that your dad's a villain and has been the whole time?
Yeah.
Just as much, more unlikely perhaps.
Yeah.
To you to imagine. He says that the fact that Yasmeen said she was sorry as soon as she was carted off is confession enough for him. He doesn't need to hear anything else. It's clearly her that did it. And the officer comes in to ask any more. She can't tell them anything else. She just, I don't know, she come in to say hello.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing? Everyone thinks I'm a bitch, but I've just come to see how you are, really. Do you want me to get you some tea? She's so sweet. We don't see the nice side of her. Kathy is at Eileen's.
Yes, she's spying out the window, isn't she? She's looking at the police outside, and there's this kind of an interesting scene where I referred to earlier, them trying to trying to piece together and say, oh, was there an argument that got out of hand? I don't know. I mean, and Eileen tells Kathy about the fact that Geoff seemingly locked Yasmeen in the house, and then they talk more about the magic box incident. They're kind of skirting around it.
The thing is that Kathy thinks she knows what happened, but then she's starting to realise that she doesn't know.
There's even more to it.
Alia arrives at the police station and obviously in a state, and gets the lowdown from Ryan. Then we get a scene with Geoff waking up and he's panicking, he's flailing about, he's trying to pull the oxygen mask off.
I love that.
I thought it felt to me a bit like they wished he was intubated, because that is the natural, like a lot of people when they wake up, if they've been intubated, they'll immediately try to claw it out of their face because it can feel it in your throat. Yeah. Whereas an oxygen mask is you kind of immediately know, I've got an oxygen mask on. Yeah. But I guess people who are confused would take that off as well. It was a very kind of... And they're trying to put it back on and it's like, no, I don't want oxygen. I don't need it.
He's not drowsy or anything, is he? He's just come straight to.
I love the fact that it looks as though he's been plotting her downfall. Yeah, I think
he's been fully aware of what's been going on for a good 10-15 minutes.
Pretending.
What am I going to say?
God damn
it. So I've got my story straight.
Happened?
Whoa, get this mask off me.
She tried to kill me. I find this so sinister because he clearly is so evil that he's got his fake story straight immediately upon regaining consciousness from a traumatic injury, like a near fatal injury, losing all that blood, and he's immediately like, it's all my wife's fault.
It may be a bit unrealistic.
I think it is very unrealistic, to be honest.
I don't really know anyone that's been smashed around the head and then stabbed in the neck, and whether or not they wake up like this or not. But for the drama purposes,
the evil drama, I thought this was quite...
it.
Yeah. Imran updates Alia and Ryan on Geoff and says he's awake and he's yelling. I still haven't worked out about Yasmeen, but she phoned the police and said she killed him, so I'm a bit shafted. And the self-defence thing ain't really working out because she keeps saying that it's all her fault. I just need her to tell me what's happened. Because, like, at no point did people not say, Yasmeen, what happened? Like, she's been asked several times.
She's just not giving much at the moment,
but
is she? She's still dazed.
Think people that were mad at the police at the beginning of the week for asking her what happened weren't giving the police credit for the fact, because they didn't know yet, but I thought it was obvious this was going to happen, that later they will go back when she's calmed down and say, right, now what do you say happened? You know,
but she still doesn't. I mean, she's charged by the end of the week and she still hasn't got into a lucid enough state that she can talk rationally about what happened.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that anyway. So Geoff's there. DS Abney goes in to interview Geoff. And Geoff's like, oh, she's such a drinker. Everyone says I overreact, but they don't know what she was like. She was violent. She hit me. Don't know why. I'm such a gentleman. Then Alia comes. She bursts into the room and she starts shrieking at Geoff, saying he's awful. And just like, oh no, don't be mean to Alia. She must be hurt and confused. And she's like, shut up, Geoff, you bastard. How dare you try to patronise me? I'm not confused. I know exactly what you've been doing to my gran. You're evil. And then DS Abney's like, let's just take this into the hallway, shall we? Alia in the corridor is going on about Claire's law. She contacted him. He's been gaslighting her. He's been controlling her for months. Sally, listen, you know what I'm talking about. You know this isn't right. And she gets escorted away. But you can see DS Abney going,
And Sally as well.
Sally's done quite a few sort of, thinking. Thinking looks. Confused looks. Jeff's like, I tried. Oh, she's so mean. Kathy's starting to feel guilty in the Rovers about what's actually happening. Geoff then starts his sob story, basically, saying to DS Abney that Yasmeen, like, she's like, he basically said, like, she attacked me and she's violent, and she's like, well, she attacked you before, and he says, I mean, truthfully, he got knocked down that time, didn't he, by accident?
Yes.
You know, so But he's knocked her down more than she's.
He didn't mention that specific incident, but I'm sure
No, he
it
just
will
said
come
that she hit me a few times. He didn't specifically say. And then the policewoman was like, what is this about Jocelyn then? And Tim is confused because he knows there's a story about his mum, who I've forgotten to read, Tessa.
Yeah.
So he knows the story of his mum, who was an alcoholic and lashed out, and now another woman's come out, and he doesn't never heard of her before. So then Geoff has to explain his point of view of what this altercation with Jocelyn is, because dear Abney's like going, you've got, there was a report made about this, yeah. So he's not very happy about the fact that Tim's listening in on this.
He's got no choice though, really, he has to.
Well, she said earlier, somebody said, would you like privacy? He's like, no, he must hear this, because he's trying to get everybody on his side. So he said, this is his story. We were dating, she started having a go at me, accused me of stalking her. Then we went outside and she started hitting me, but I never touched her once. And then anyway, about Tessa, she was Tim's mum. She used a drinking problem, and so she used to lash out at me. And dear Stephanie's like, yeah, right, so let me get this straight. So you're saying to me you've had 3 different women who've all got drunk and all attacked you? And he's like, what do you mean? How? If I was a woman, you wouldn't be asking me that, would you? You basically trying to insinuate that
he's just got a very punchable face, as old Geoff.
Oh, well, I like the fact that she was immediately like, that's weird, isn't it? Do you think that's weird? It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, thank you.
She's not made up her mind yet. She's not completely disregarding everything that Geoff's got to say.
Do we want police officers that immediately make their minds up without investigating, or do we want people that think they know what happened and then investigate to see if they're right or not?
Yeah.
I'll hold my hand up again. Sorry. Imran's in the pub with Ali, is ranting on, and he says to her, calm down a minute. You can't go round shouting about this, and you can't influence these people here in the pub.
But that's what I do best, says Alia.
I want people to listen to me. She sounds like me a bit, doesn't she? Moaning and ranting and nobody's listening. So she then... so Imran's saying to her, these people are going to be called into court, and you can't have any influence on what they say, because they've
got to be unbiased what they say. And if you're going around saying this, that and the other, then that's going to
affect what they say.
Yeah.
Anyway, she starts to go at Kathy on the way out and tries to make everyone feel bad about this. Back in the interview room, so they're having another interview with Yasmeen, and she's still a bit dazed. She's not as bad as she was before, but she's still really not coherent, is she?
No.
She asks about Geoff, and the police officer.
Can you hear the fireworks that's going on in the background, everybody?
Everyone else is celebrating VE Day, but
I think
we're
supposed to be singing "We'll Meet Again" at the moment.
No,
we'll sing it later, we promise. But if there's bangs, it's just the fireworks.
Well, I don't know where I am.
I was just talking about.
Oh, they're having the interview again, and then she says, "I can't remember what happened," but then she does say, "I thought he had a knife. I thought he had a knife in his hand, and I panicked, and then for some reason this was a bit of a dick move. The policewoman takes the photo of Geoff's neck out and goes, 'This is what you did.' Do you remember that?" And then poor Yasmeen's like, "I need to see him. I need to say I'm sorry." She gets really upset, and they conclude the interview, and the police officers walk out of the room, and she thinks she's going to go and see him, and DS Abney kind of just gives her a look like, you poor woman, you really don't know what's going on here. You've got no idea, do you? Like, she knows that I think she can tell that she's not in her right mind. But at the same time, if somebody like that commits a crime, I guess they must have people like that all the time, and all they can really do is get them help. But you can't just go, well, all right, let you go then if you're a bit sad about it. As long as you're really sorry. Geoff thanks Tim and Sally as they leave, and Sally's like,
Sally just the camera kind of pauses on Sally just a bit as she leaves the hospital room, and she's
certainly not giving anything away.
The cogs are whirring. To
Tim and Geoff will not have picked up on this, I don't think.
No. And
I don't think she wants them to either. And I think she's a bit cautious here, Anyway.
Yeah, I think she needs to get her head together with Kathy and Eileen, but without Tim finding out. I think Tim's going to feel very betrayed.
Tim is going to get a bit annoyed, isn't he, about Sally taking Yasmeen's side if she does eventually have an epiphany. So the end of the week is poor Yasmeen being charged with attempted murder.
Shocking.
It is shocking.
Yeah, she's still wanting to see Geoff. She hasn't quite got it that she's not going to be seeing or speaking to him, or maybe anybody, but for quite a while. So, Gemma, what else do we want to talk about this story before we move on?
I just want to say, I've got it off my chest now.
No more about Abney.
I'm sorry if you got mad about it, and I understand why people did get mad, and I know that everybody feels protective of Yasmeen and stuff, so I completely get it. I just had to really have a rant because it's been bothering me. But I think also, as you know, everyone, I am a Libra, so I'm very contrary. So I immediately take the other side of any argument just to balance it out.
She just likes arguing, my wife. Did you find that Monday's episode was worth the wait over the weekend?
Oh, I'm really enjoying this.
For what, even though the Abney stuff did irk me a little bit on Monday, on the whole, I absolutely loved Monday's episode. It was a really great follow-up to Friday's cliffhanger, especially the bit before the break on Monday, because that was all still on the street, and Shelley King was such an awesome performance all week, from when she's there over Geoff's body to the wiping of the hands on the dress to just the daze and confusion as she's being brought out, and how beaten down she's been and weary, and in the interview room as well, and that scene where she's asked to take the clothes off, it's just absolutely perfect performance, I thought, and that's what's what a lot of people are responding to, like you say, when everyone's supporting her and turning against the copper. She's doing an amazing job.
Don't not support Yasmeen.
And there's not a shred of humour. They're not trying to inject any comedy or anything into it, are they?
Oh, why would they?
Well, what Corrie does sometimes. It was really perfectly pitched, I thought.
There are a few
everything with Shelley.
Very standout actresses on Coronation Street who do strength and vulnerability in equally well, and it makes their characters strong and sympathetic. And it is, off the top of my head, Shelley King, Georgia Taylor, Sally Ann Matthews are particular ones that stand out to me as being really good at doing both of those.
Ali King.
Yeah. So they're generally good, and she perfectly, as she said.
I just love how this story has given her the opportunity to do it, because before this story really got going, although lots of people might have liked Yasmeen, she hadn't had a massive opportunity to show what a great actress she was. I would say
she's been really good in supporting roles in other storylines.
Yeah.
Barricading herself into the library didn't really show her range.
No. I do wonder if there had been award ceremonies going on, whether this could have stood, shoulder to shoulder with the Sinead story, because up until this point it was like, well, obviously the Sinead story is going to get nominated for everything left, right and centre, but
they really need
I'm thinking maybe this could even leapfrog it.
The Soap Awards needs to work out some way of doing some awards, because we can't just skip a year.
The thing is, it's not about the awards, and I would say that probably Shelley might even say,
it's not about the awards, but at the same time, you don't get to decide whether I give you praise or not. I'm going to praise you if I think you deserve it. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily for the person who gets the award. It's for everyone to say, bloody good job, and I want to praise you for it.
What did you think about the fact that at the end of the week, Yasmeen seemed to be back on? I want to say sorry to Geoff. I need to see Geoff. I did kind of think that this might have been the turning point for her, where she realises exactly what he's been doing, but she's
going to rewrite history in her mind and think, no, he had the knife because he was cutting bread. I thought he was coming at me with the knife, but I was probably wrong.
Oh, it's a
And
the way that it was even filmed last Friday as well, with all the funny camera angles and the blurriness and the lights. It was all to show that she was confused about what was happening. It was almost like a dream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I mean, an avenue. There are plenty of ways the story could go. The story could go, Yasmeen gets put in prison, Geoff unmasks himself in some manner through perhaps the cameras being discovered or something. Then we find out that Yasmeen's been suffering from abuse, and somehow the magic prison fairy lets her out, even though we know that she did stab him in the neck with a bottle.
Yeah,
What could happen, and I don't know if you can. I don't know whether you're victims of domestic abuse. I get confused with different countries about what the law is, but I think some places you can't drop the charges, and some places you can, to protect you. Like a woman who's been abused would probably not always press charges against a man, for example, who's sort of the breadwinner of the house, because she's financially dependent on him, and so the police protect her by saying, no, well, you don't get a choice, you know. But I think maybe Geoff might say, well, I don't want her to go to court over this. Let her out. And then Geoff and Yasmeen get back together again, because now Yasmeen, the more she thinks about it, the more she's going to think, well, mate, I must have been wrong. Why would my lovely husband, Geoff, you know, and everyone else is going to be thinking, I don't even know what to think now, because on the one hand, we thought that they had a perfect relationship. Then we realised that things weren't rosy. Then we thought Yasmeen was in the wrong. Then we realised Geoff was a git. Now they're back together again.
I do think that this knife is going to be quite a key piece of evidence in it, because he's lied to the police about that, hasn't he? Because he told the police that he put the knife... He had the knife down, and when she attacked him, he wasn't holding the knife. But we went back just after tonight's episode, didn't we? And rewatched the end of Friday's episode again, and he definitely had that knife with him in his hand as she hit him, and then as she stabbed him, that knife was still there. And he then put the knife down on the side just as he dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
So when the police were doing that, or the forensics were collecting the evidence on Monday, they picked the knife up to the side. So... Where he said the knife was on the side, they're going to say, yeah, we found the knife on the side. He's not lying there. But again, maybe the cameras will pick something else up.
Well, yeah, he'll just say, well, I had the knife in my hand because I was cutting bread. And then Yasmeen started having a go at me because she was drunk. This is the other question.
And that kind of was what happened.
Well, he
was acting aggressively towards her with a knife in his hand.
Yeah, and she... attacked him.
But the thing is, he's told the police that he put the knife down, which is again like,
I don't think you can prove when the knife was put down.
No, and I do wonder how much of it does he remember, because she's still can't really remember everything that happened, and she's been conscious all the way through this. He's been in a coma for a bit, and he's woken up, and he can still remember exactly what happened.
Well, he doesn't really need to remember exactly what happened. He just needs to have his story straight. The unfortunate thing is that nobody breathalyzed Yasmeen when they got there.
Well, we didn't see it, did we?
Well, it hasn't come up, and you think it would have done.
Yeah, Imran asked Yasmeen if she'd been drinking.
I know. If I was Imran, I would have said, well, you know, it's not real, but you would have been like, a breathalyzer, you know, now, do it now.
Yeah.
It might not be instantly after the thing happened, but we can see how much is in her bloodstream now, and there wouldn't have been anything.
Yeah. Did you like Alia's what she brought to the table?
She's like Cassandra. She's like screaming, and nobody will believe her.
It seems
I
like
love Cassandra characters.
It seems a very realistic reaction, and it's very in character for Alia as well. With Imran telling her shut up.
This always happens though. It's so frustrating to watch this happen in every single TV show and movie, where you know the character is telling the truth, but because they are so emotional and nobody will listen, they start to scream it at people, and the more crazy they get, the less what's the word?
Well, it's less believable.
Yeah.
They see.
Less trustworthy they are, and the more they look like they're just being mad.
Well, I hope that she does keep on, plugging away at it, because she does need to make the police look into the Clare's Law stuff, for example.
But I don't understand why people don't think that this is going to come up at some point.
I
Just
suppose if
because
you're in Alia's position, you want them to.
No, I know, but
Alia
Alia has said it. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, though, the police don't instantly go to a crime scene and then find the information out immediately before they've asked and spoken to the main witness and perpetrator of the crime. They investigate, and there's no bloody rush to it, is there? Because it's not like the court case is going to be tomorrow. Yeah. They've got to investigate first and do it properly. And you don't get all the information instantly. And if she went in there and think about, like, dramatically speaking, if DS Abney went in to the interview room on was it Monday or Wednesday and went, Yasmeen, we know about Claire's Law and everything that's happened, and we're going to let you off of stabbing your husband in the neck because you've been abused. Well, I mean, how is that a satisfactory conclusion to the storyline? It isn't at all.
No. I wonder whether Toya's going to feature in any way. Not only that she's going out with Imran, the lawyer on the case, but she was confided in by Alia.
She's the one that told her about Claire's Law in the first place.
So I think they might kind of triangulate what they know.
Well, she's going to probably speak to Imran about this, isn't she?
I can't remember whether...
Are they allowed to talk to each other about
this?
That's
the thing. Is there a bit of a conflict of interest there?
Well, Alia was kind of her client and Yasmeen is kind of Imran's client. I don't know. Think of all that sexy pillow talk.
The only thing that I'm thinking the only other thing is that at the end of the day, we know that Yasmeen's gonna get away with it, doesn't she? Or she's going to be freed. Everything's going to be okay. I'm not foreseeing any kind of Angela Harris future for her.
This is the other thing that I think. I feel a bit more relaxed and confident and not worried or anxious about Yasmeen. So I feel like perhaps that might have affected how I feel about the police officer and the way she treated her, because I'm thinking it'll all be all right in the end, because we know, like, nothing...
Chill, everyone.
Like, yeah, there might be a few tough moments here, and it's not going to be a straight line to victory by any means, but at the end of the day, Coronation Street knows that we have to finish this story with Yasmeen finding peace and happiness and Geoff either in prison or dead or whatever. I just know that's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm not at all worried about getting to that stage. So, send DS Abney in with whatever hairstyle she wants and telling Yasmeen anything, because it's all going to be fine in the end.
It's just when. And is it going to be before summer? Is it going to be the end of the year?
Don't know. It could be a long time.
The fact that Yasmeen at the end of this week was seen to be,
I just want to prime
regretful
people
about what she did.
Yeah, I just need to prime people who don't like this story and who think it's been dragged out already, that this, in real life, it would be perfectly reasonable to expect Yasmeen to get back with Geoff and not think that... and not really examine what happened and take his word for, you were remembering it wrong. I just had a knife in my hand. You were going crazy and panicking. You were in a state. I was trying to reassure you. I didn't realise I had the knife in my hand. I must have raised it. And you went mad and hit me and tried to kill me. But I'll take you back. You better watch yourself, though. You know what I mean? And then they could end up back together again. And it could, it could be months down the line before something else happens. Just prepare yourself, because I know it's really hard. But if you've not had this experience of knowing that this happens in real life, just be thankful that you're not watching this happen to somebody that you know and love, like some people have.
Well, Shelley was
because this is much more difficult to watch happen to somebody that you know than to watch it on television.
Shelley was saying on one of the interviews she did recently that she's spoken to people who've been in similar situations, and like the smallest amount of time was 5 years or something.
Exactly. I'm sorry, it takes a long time.
Time is obviously
well, it's going to be condensed. It's not going to be 5 years.
It felt like it was
nearly
a
over.
Climax. It felt last week like it was nearly over.
I'm glad that they're going to do this, because I spoke before about this on the show and said, I can't remember the number, but it's quite high, like 6 or 7 or something, the amount of times a woman will try to leave an abusive partner. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's difficult to get away, because it's not just a case of removing yourself physically from the area that they live. It's a psychological dependency that has been created.
Okay, right. Let's move on to the minor stories of the week. I think we said all we got to say about that one. So Kelly and Gary.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. I really like it. Well, as much as you can enjoy.
I read quite a few people after Monday's episode saying that didn't that didn't follow on well enough from Fridays for me.
Really?
Yeah, that some people were not happy with Mondays, and I think it was partly to do with the way that the police were reacting and treating Yasmeen. But I hope people still continue to enjoy it. But like I said last week, there's a real risk that this could go down the same route as the Phelan story.
I know.
And
I think it
stumble at
will.
the final hurdle.
No. I just think that this is going to be another one that people find too tough, and I'm certainly not going to blame. You know, if you find it too tough to watch, then don't make yourself watch it. Like the same way I couldn't watch Sinead stuff, and I'm not going to criticise somebody for finding something difficult to watch.
No, there's a difference between finding something difficult to watch and thinking it's been on too long. And the Phelan's ending didn't work quite right. They could have ended it at the lighthouse, but they wanted to keep it going for a little bit longer, and that they could have ended this story here, but they're saying no, we've got a bit more we can squeeze out of this.
No, it's not. It's
realistic. I know it is.
It's more realistic to have this happen than have a serial killer fall into the ocean, wash up in Ireland, and then come back to kill Michelle on her wedding
his leg
day.
up. I know, it totally is. But there's still, if they'd have ended this story now, people would have said that was a great story. And
I know, but again, just to point out too, another point that people have made, and I agree with, that it can't be a sensationalized ending where she stabs him and then he becomes unmasked as a killer, because that is not a reasonable ending for like. You have to take on a certain amount of responsibility to tell a truthful story that might help somebody when you tackle an issues-based storyline. And to have Yasmeen thrown into prison for stabbing her husband is dramatic and satisfying to watch as a viewer, but it's not particularly fair or true to the experiences that most women have.
No.
And you've got to take that into account, and the balance between telling a satisfying narrative, having a satisfying narrative and arc, and being realistic and fair, that balance is tricky. And I don't envy Coronation Street for having to walk that tightrope, but I am confident that they're going to do a good job.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the next story. So the Kelly and Gary for all of the other stories this week, as I said earlier, none of them were brilliant for me. There are a few nice bits, especially with the Nina stuff, but this was definitely B material compared to the Geoff and Yasmeen story. And also they were crossing over with each other all over the place with the awards, and Gary and Nina and Asher and everything. I tried to separate them out into stories, but there might be a bit of crossover in places. So starts off with Adam and Sarah back from their honeymoon. And this is 2 months they're away, maybe?
Must be nice.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you go out. That's what happens when you marry a lawyer.
Oh,
you have a honeymoon.
Wonder where they went. Skegness. You can have 2 months in Skegness if you like, or 1 month in the Caribbean. I mean, 1 week.
So Adam is straight back on the case with Gary when he spies him and Sharon going into the shop, and she speaks to Gary and knows about this award that Kelly's being given. This is the stupidest
thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, so there's an awards going on, and we know how Weatherfield likes their awards. They got the Good Samaritan, they got the Golden Hearts Award, they got the hairdressing awards.
Yeah.
Now they've got what is it? Young outreach program. No, youth outreach program. That's that.
Yorp. It sounds like that guy out of Hot Fuzz, except he went Yarp. It's because it's the northern version of Yarp. Yorp.
It's like those teachers or whatever that say that all children should be awarded.
Basically,
everybody gets a sticker.
Weatherfield
or the Oprah Winfrey. You get a car. You get a car. You get an award. You get an award.
It's the Weatherfield Participation Award.
It basically is. For just getting out of bed in the morning, you get an award.
Michael.
This is why people stick around Weatherfield so long, despite it being the crime capital of the UK. They hang on in there because I'm going to get an award for something, or I'm going to get an award or an unexpected windfall. One or the other. So I'm going to.
Michael, I think you're overlooking Kelly's achievements here.
Her endeavour,
which apparently involves going from a private school, a posh school, to a normal school with horrible chav kids.
I know. Is that literally what she's done?
That literally
she's being
is the
awarded. They didn't even try to explain it, did they?
No, they didn't. Sharon just said.
Sharon? Yeah.
Sharon just said she's been struggling with moving from moving to the new school.
Going from Oak Hill to where he's going.
The hell?
Hi.
I mean, we know that the
They
middle.
don't even know that her dad's dead.
We know that the upper middle classes already get a pretty cushy ride in life, but I didn't know they got awards for having to go to normal school with normal kids.
They're probably like waiting outside of Aldi's, going, "Oh, well done, you went into Aldi, did you? Instead of Waitrose, well done, have a gold medal."
You've got normal food in your bag. That's cute. You're going to cook it up. You're going to go home and cook it up. I'm going to a restaurant.
I think that awards are at risk of being the new fancy dress in Coronation Street, and every writer's go-to.
What shall I do?
I don't think that
I don't
people get
understand
awards
this
quite
either,
so
because
much in real life.
It literally, there was no point to it either in the end, was there?
No, there wasn't.
Did we even see her getting it?
I don't think so.
What is it anyway? Is it one of these like horrible glass shards, or is it a certificate? Can she put it in her CV?
We got to see Max doing his speech, didn't we?
Yeah, we did,
And that
anyway.
was it. Anyway, Sharon says that Kelly's getting this award, and yes, I do know that she's moved in at the end of the week. So what? And Gary tries to get her to...
moved in at the end of the week?
At the end of the street.
Okay.
She's living with Paul and Billy, isn't she? And she also says she's going to put the feelers out for Kelly's mum, who's done a bunk, as we know.
Well, yeah, that's why she's getting an award.
So when Kelly...
She's getting another award for that.
When Kelly shows up at the awards, Deb immediately starts having a go at her because Asher and Amy are
This isn't at the
loitering
awards.
around.
This was just outside.
Oh, was it? It was outside.
I don't understand what happened, because there were...
No, it was, because that was on Wednesday's episode, and that was when they were all waiting to go into the community centre.
Oh, okay.
Although I wouldn't
get
want to
it
go
now.
into a community centre run by some husband near murderer.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I don't know if they even got it open. Anyway, Gary appears out of nowhere. That's why I said he's a guardian angel. He just, like, as soon as anyone's having a go at Kelly at the moment, Gary's just pops out of the ether and says, "Don't you be horrible to Kelly." And if anyone's talking about her, he's there listening in.
No, he's all eyes, all ears, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the feelers out. It really has. Anyway, he tells Deb to back off. She's just a kid, and Kelly's like, "Sod off, Gary. I don't need your help." She strides off. And Adam overhears all of this and sees.
Well, listen, you criticise Gary for overhearing, but Adam's done that to
they
Gary.
Both are.
They're both
they
listening.
Both are.
Like, it's like all we need now is for Kelly to start spying on Adam, and we just have a triangle of people spying on each other.
It's so soapy. Everyone's always where they need to be to overhear what's going on.
Well, how else is it supposed to progress? You want to wait months to get him to find this out
Anyway,
another way.
Adam finds out via Amy who this girl was, and she's a Neelan, eh?
Yeah.
So on Friday...
Everyone's desperately trying to remember what Adam knows about
I know,
the
we tried to
Neelans
look this up as well.
And Gary.
This is another problem I have with this. It's just the momentum has gone.
I know, I was really into Gary, and now I'm like, blah, 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 especially now Adam's come back. Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
and it's well, when they set up Gary versus Adam, and they were saying, it's just like Ken Barlow and Mike Baldwin. they have kind of, they're not pushing that agenda
They're like,
anymore,
okay,
are they?
you're
They're
not
like,
buying that?
we
Okay, fine.
tried it. Come
What
on,
about
give us
this
a bit of
award?
credit for that. But no, I'm just not interested in it anymore. And I think Gary might have hinted to Adam at some point that he knows more about Rick's location, in the woods, than he's actually letting on. But I've forgotten. I need to have a look at that. Do a Vogel search like Adam was doing at the end of the episode to try and catch up with who knows what.
Wasn't Adam and Gary's initial sort of argument with each other was just over...
It was over Sarah Louise, wasn't it? Yeah.
And now Adam's married Sarah and Gary's got Maria. Really, Sarah was expecting Adam to just let it drop.
Mm.
But he still knows... Because he's the one... No, who was it that found the book? Was it Adam?
What book? No, that was Ali.
That's right. Oh, Jesus.
Just need to get to the end of this.
I know.
So anyway, Paul and Billy weighed into this on Friday as well because Billy is...
Paul with a pretty good point, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't notice this.
I didn't
but
put this together, but he's right.
Paul's a bit miffed that he seems to be that he's now living with a sex offender because Kelly and Kel, not only do they have a very similar name,
Yeah.
but their crimes are not dissimilar either.
Well, they're in the same ballpark. They're not exactly the same.
It's not exactly the same,
No.
but yeah.
But basically, Paul's pointing out to Billy, like, she distributed a video of an underage girl. What do you think Hell did to me? You know, and Billy's like, oh, damn it.
Didn't spot
Just
that
shut
one.
up, Paul.
Gary's listening into this conversation that they have at the pub later as well, and because Paul's saying that she's not our responsibility. She needs to be told to sling her hook.
I mean, honestly, I agree with him, and you know, I know Kelly's a young girl, and everyone makes mistakes and such, but so far I'm really not sympathetic to her. And apart from the fact that she's apologised and she
did seem genuinely sorry.
I know,
last
but
week.
So what? She should be old enough to realise how crap that was and what a dastardly thing to do it was. And she's sorry because it's ruined her life, really. And how can you tell if she's sorry because it upset Ash or if she's sorry because she's in trouble? I just think I'd feel the same way about, and I really don't know anything about her personality either, apart from that what she's done and that she's sorry that she did it. It's not exactly anything to recommend you, is it?
No. We then had that scene of Maria coming in and finding Gary listening to My Way
and critiquing the lyrics.
Yeah, and he tells her that Kelly's being kicked out from Billy and Paul's house, and she's probably going to end up on the streets. I don't know whether he was trying to angle for her.
Maria immediately shuts him down.
She's not coming to live with us.
Here.
No way. I don't know whether that's what he was going for or not.
I think
she's still
like,
proud of him for fighting her corner, and he just goes and does the next best thing, which is guilt tripping Billy and Paul into letting her stay by saying, "Oh, you know what a tough time Kelly's been having.
I'm so proud of you for letting her live with you."
She's had to go away from Oak Hill, you know.
Do you know she's getting an award for how hard she's had it? Can I just ask you a question also? The Yorp Endeavour Awards, do they know that they're awarding this prize for adversity to basically a paedophile child porn distributor?
Yeah, I'm surprised Dev didn't speak up a bit louder about that, actually.
This is the sort of thing that turns out to be a scandal on Twitter when somebody works out that the recipient of this award is actually being investigated for child porn.
So hang on a minute. So Kelly's got an award even though she's done this. Did Michael Rodwell get the Good Samaritan Award, even though he was a massive crim?
He was a burglar.
Aggie's got the Golden Heart Award, even
for
though
letting
she let
a man
this guy die
twice.
And Gemma nearly won the Good Samaritan Award, and
for bothering Rita.
Well, no, and she's a flipping gangster's mole.
Yeah,
they know how to pick them, don't they?
They're like, maybe if we give them an award, they'll stop being such awful people.
Anyway, it just ends up with Paul saying, "Oh, fine, you don't have to go. You can come and stay with us," because Kelly decides to pack herself up and leave on the Weatherfield Wayfarer, and Paul's like, "No."
She goes,
"I'm
going home." How old is she? Can't she just go home?
Well, no, she's still too minor to look after herself. Billy said that he was going to be trying to look out for other family members that she could go and stay with, but I think he's conveniently forgotten about that.
I think she should really be able to live in a house by herself.
I don't know.
I don't think you would have been able to.
I'm not a
judge.
judge.
Died.
Why? You wouldn't be able to cook for myself. I'd have been all right with my super noodles. Thank you very much. And my spaghetti hoops on toast.
Got scurvy.
At the end of the episode, we have Adam investigating Gary on the computer, and he tries to hide it from Sarah, but then she finds out, and she's frustrated that he hasn't let this Gary issue drop, and we're feeling this too, Sarah, don't worry. But he says that he's just doing it because of Kelly being mixed up in it all, and...
No, he's just saying, look, Amy's Kelly's friend, and I'm just looking out.
Looking out for my cousin.
Whatever. Adam, nobody buys it. Well,
so
this is just a signal to everybody that now Adam's back. We're going to continue the Gary and Adam.
Picking off where we left off, but this time we haven't got Ali sticking his oar in.
Ali's not there to put the pieces
he's
together.
He's buggered off somewhere, but we've still got Ryan.
Yeah.
I didn't really see the need for the whole Paul angle apart today, because they just seem to have, in the space of a half an hour episode, they've gone back to exactly where they were.
No, I know.
It only seemed to be for the drama, and for maybe any listeners any viewers that might have said, hang on a minute, Is Paul happy with this?
I don't know, maybe it was just a sort of establish, remind everybody that Gary still feels responsible for her, but I think we got that already.
We've got that over the
now.
past month
I
or
don't
so.
know.
It felt very, very fillerish to me. That's all I'm saying.
I feel sorry for Paul because Billy does not care what Paul ever thinks about anything. So he just goes, "Oh well, I'm the bigger character than you, so we'll do what I say."
What I say goes. I'm second to God.
Goes God, me, Jesus, and all the other ones, the saints and things.
And then you.
Yeah.
Asher story.
Right, so this was quite fun, I thought.
Yeah, this was quite fun.
Poor Asher still trying to overcome her quite reasonable reluctance to go outside.
She should have got an award.
She's shown
endeavour.
Yeah. So on Wednesday, she's being very reclusive, and Roy suggests that she helps out with the teas at the awards so that she can sort of experience going out in public
mocking
before school. Really, it's a good idea just to dip her toes into it, and Nina's like starts to realise that what's happened to Asher, and she's interested in her plight and things.
She wants to get involved in a story because literally all she's done for the past 4 or 5 months is served customers with cups of tea at the cafe, and she went to go and see bats that one time
and put special spoons out.
Oh,
Don't forget the spoons.
That was special. Come and sit next to me.
So
spoons.
Asher agrees to go, but she's not very happy about it. And then when they all go, Asher, Dev and Amy go to Victoria Street. It was probably worse than her worst nightmare.
That boy, that Jamie, that was like...
I can't fathom this. They're all staring there looking at her, and then this one boy Jamie's like going, "Oh, I can still see what you like. When I close my eyes, no clothes. When I open them, you've got clothes on. When I close my eyes, you've got no clothes on." And I couldn't believe...
like, it makes your toes curl, but I could completely believe somebody saying that.
Yeah,
maybe not with her dad right there.
That's what I thought. Does he not know that's her dad? And also, really, I know... Well, what happens is...
I could completely put myself in Asher's shoes at that point.
Poor girl.
And imagine how she'd be feeling.
I think I'd throw up. Nina strides over, she takes her glove off, and he's like, "You're going to slap me with a glove?" And she says no and punches him with her fist right in the nose, and there's blood everywhere. But really, I mean, I don't know why Dev was there, because I think if this was a real situation, Dev would have picked Jamie up by his head and smashed it into the wall until he was dead. There's literally no way a man, especially like Dev, would stand there and listen to a boy saying that about his daughter.
Dev,
I don't
think Dev's got violent tendencies.
I don't think you understand what a father and a daughter's relationship is.
Well, he didn't need to. He's got Nina there to fight his corner for him.
Nina can fight for everybody. Well, it would have complicated things a lot more if Dev had done this, because he probably would have got in trouble. Whereas when it's cute and funny when a girl does it.
Yeah, well, there were people, and I completely see their side of it, who were like, why should she get away with punching Jamie? Why is violence the answer to everything? Why are we celebrating this girl for nearly breaking somebody's nose?
Because sometimes on the show you have to draw the line between what you're going to accept and
it's like when they get the beer poured over them, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's one of these things as a soap viewer that you kind of have to accept that means that they win.
Yeah, exactly. It's the end of the conversation. It was a kind of fun justice to watch, because he was being so vile.
He really, really was.
And I mean, and you know that boys would be like that. Probably not.
Totally would.
Disgusting animals.
Yeah.
Hashtag not all boys. Inside the cafe later, Nina says to Asher that she should own it and show them that she is beautiful and strong. And she sort of like keeps on at this on Friday as well. Asher thanks Nina and tells her on Friday about what happened with Kelly.
They have a bit of a bonding sesh.
Yeah,
as
and they
well,
get chatting, and Nina says, "You're beautiful. You shouldn't need anyone to confirm it for you," because she's saying, "Oh yeah, I sent a video to this boy," and she's like, "Why did you do that?" And she says, "Well, because I wanted him to like me and think I was pretty and everything." And she's like, "You don't need anyone to tell you pretty." I understand the sentiment here, but I really wish it had been more of a case of like it. You know, I I know it's cliched, but it really doesn't matter if you're beautiful or not. Like, you are beautiful,
I was
but it's
thinking that
irrelevant.
when I was watching it. Yeah.
It's like you're not, and also this is the harsh truth that nobody tells girls: you're not going to be beautiful and young and pretty forever, and you really shouldn't be putting all of your stock and self-worth in that. You should develop. Like,
she did tell her she's beautiful inside and out.
I know, but you need to work on your skills and your personality and your talents. Don't just think I'm beautiful. And honestly, if you're young, you are beautiful. And I remember my mum telling me this when I was young. You are beautiful when you're young, because wait till you get old.
Wait until you get those wrinkles.
Yeah.
And your hairy nose.
Yeah. So, and she is right. Again, it's just so frustrating because it shouldn't matter, and it does matter. And you go around in circles going, yeah, well, women do get judged by how they look. So of course it does matter if she's beautiful or not. But so you can't unpack that in a podcast about soap. Dev finds an envelope that's come through the door with Asher written on it. He opens it. To be fair to him, it wasn't sealed, and just looks at it. We don't really work out from his expression what it is, but he brings it to Asher.
I think it was probably right of him to open it. Because
of course it was. It could have been anything.
Yeah, it could have been, somebody...
Could have been Jamie returning the favour of the no clothes picture.
Yeah.
He takes it to Asher and says, and it's a portrait that Nina has drawn of her, and it says, in case you needed proof.
Lovely portrait.
Very
with
pretty.
All stars and twinkly bits and everything.
Yeah, and she draws Roy later.
I can't remember when Asher has a look at the picture. I don't know whether it says it's from Nina on the back or whether we just assumed it was, and then they had to show her drawing Roy to just say, yes, it is Nina. I mean,
I don't know that we needed that.
It was obviously Nina in the style and everything, but it was really nice. I have really enjoyed Nina's involvement in this, and she seems like the perfect character to get involved, and she's had to go through all of this. She's had people being horrible to her. She was having battles with the other people in the flats, wasn't she? Where she was living with her dad. So all of her life, or ever since she's become a goth, she's had people making fun of her because of her appearance and everything, and she's become a very strong person, and she's going to hopefully help Asher out of this funk that she's in, so that she can hopefully come out stronger than before she started. I
also liked the fact that when Nina went out to confront all the lads, especially Jamie, who were looking at making fun of Asher, she came out and she was like, don't look at her, look at me, look, I'm a weird goth, look at me.
Yeah.
Like, she knows that she's just used to sort of being criticised for the way that she looks.
Yeah.
But she knows...
It's like water for ducks back now.
Yeah, because she's got inner confidence.
Advantage.
And she's like, I know I look good, and I don't care what you think, because my self-worth does not exist in your head.
Yeah.
And I really wish this like self-esteem and came from an interior sense of self and confidence rather than transient, I look attractive,
Do you think that this could be the end, or kind of a soft end of the story?
I hope so, because what I want to have happened is that it's a very feminist story of women helping other women, and Nina supporting Asher with like a female bonding and love and acknowledgement of her struggles as a fellow woman who's going through...
It feels like it would be weird if they didn't show what happens to Asher when she goes back to school, though.
I know, I don't really...
And that's only supposed to be
unpleasant.
in an episode or two's time.
And she's also Nina's saying, like, oh, you should own it. And it's like, well, how do you own starring in inadvertent pornography?
Do you think that it would feel a bit fake, though, if it's like on Asher's first day back at school, everyone starts, chucking insults at her. She just, she owns it, and she suddenly is full of this confidence thanks to this picture that's been drawn of her.
I don't know if we do need another scene where I guess this scene was like her being bullied and someone else standing up for her. And we could do with another scene where she stands up for herself.
Yeah, because Nina's not going to be at school.
No. And I mean, all she really has to do is, like, come up with some cutting remark that makes somebody look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And then we just see her and Amy smugly smiling at each other. And then we just have to assume that nobody ever
From that
messes
point
with her
onwards,
again.
yeah.
But in real life, what would
doesn't
happen?
feel realistic. Though.
No, in real life, what would happen is she'd go in on Monday and everyone would go, oh, look at Asher the Slapper, she was on the internet with her boobs out. And then on Wednesday, somebody else would be on the internet with her boobs out and they can all move on to her. That's what would happen.
I just want
or somebody would get a spot.
I just really want this story to go on longer. I want more scenes with Asher. I want more scenes with Nina.
Never hear that normally.
No, I know.
I think they're doing a really good job with the young characters.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job.
I do, I mean, as out of touch as I am with the modern youth, I feel as though this feels quite a relevant story for them, and it certainly doesn't feel patronising or...
No, I don't think it does. And the fact that that the Gary stuff is still ongoing means we're going to have Kelly at the forefront of the show for the foreseeable future, which means that there is a chance that Asher and Amy and Summer will also be involved in that.
I really don't like Kelly.
I can't
find
warm to
her
Kelly.
So unpleasant.
Mm.
I just don't. I don't know what's her redeeming feature. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, she's in a bad spot, but it doesn't make me like it.
David, this week's story, also involved in the youth outreach program because for whatever reason, and I still haven't fathomed what it is, Max has been asked to do a speech at this award show. Why?
What is it?
Why Max?
Why not?
Is he like the world's best speaker? Is he
Michael,
like full of charm and charisma?
You don't become the world's best speaker unless you do some speaking.
Is he a previous award winner for all the adversity that he's had to go through?
I don't know.
Did they just need to give Harry McDermott something to do in an episode? I'd like... Or is it just to cause the drama where David doesn't actually get to see his son's speech? I just can see no possible justification for Max being given this speech to do.
These episodes were just to remind us that the wheels are coming off at the Platt House.
Yeah, because this is another one that's been slowly and even slower because of the episodes stretching out, plodding along for a little while, because we've seen David going down that path of self-destruction, and this week we saw only hints of that, didn't we? Because he's got this ripped t-shirt that he's trying to wash, and he doesn't want Gail to find out, and we don't get to find anything about where this ripped t-shirt came from, but it seems to me like he's in some kind of underground fight club or something.
I know, that's all I thought.
Has the Weatherfield pool hall been turned into it?
And which one is he? Is he Edward Norton or is he Brad Pitt?
Which one do you think he'd want to be?
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, he just misses Max's speech because he's been out fighting all night or something.
Max is trying to practice and he's not really listening.
David doesn't care. He's like, yeah, brilliant, Max, well done.
Well, I didn't listen to a word of it, but it sounds good to me. And they're supposed to be going to Valandro's
after the speech
because the Gail wants to invite everyone out for a meal, and he sits down on the sofa on Wednesday, and Friday he wakes up. Has a good nap.
Yeah, and
he realises he's late for Max's speech.
Yeah, so he rushes off, but he doesn't get there in time to see it, and Max is sulky when they get back from the restaurant. Gail's fine because she's had her fill of calamari, it seems.
We have a series of characters praising the calamari at Valandro's, and it just made me really upset because I would like to eat calamari and I can't.
And there was a kind of a nice scene between David and Gail at the end there, where she kind of understands, she recognises that he's got a lot to deal with at the moment. His wife doesn't want anything to do with him, and she says, "Oh, you've had such a tough time these past 5 years." I'm thinking, 5 years? It's been
what the hell are you talking about?
15 at least, Gail.
He's been in
the show 20 years actually, just this month.
Been
so
ride.
Yeah, so you're missing out another 3/4 of his time. But she's saying that you just do what you need to do, basically.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the. I think I enjoyed. I don't know whether it was just the Valandro's reference. Was it just there as a bit of a wink and a nod to the long-time Coronation Street fans? Was
that 20 years ago? I can't remember when that happened.
No, I'd say 10 to 15. So that story was...
let's just wait a minute. So David talks on the phone to Nick and says we're going to Valandro's, and then Nick clearly says something to David about Leanne has got an issue with Valandro's, and then it gets left at that. And not brought up again, but if you've been watching the show long enough, you will know.
the Leanne was the one that set up Valandro's restaurant, along with Paul Clayton, who was one of Terry Duckworth's offspring. And this was back in the days where Leanne wasn't an upstanding pillar of community, and to try and claim off the insurance, she arranged for it to be... Yeah, it went wrong, and she arranged for it to be burnt down. Yeah,
she'd get the insurance money. She did a bit of a bistro ninja before the bistro was just twinkle in anyone's eye.
She was a proto bistro ninja, wasn't she? Yeah. And I don't think it's been mentioned since, but yeah, in the days before the bistro and the joinery, there were other restaurants in Weatherfield, and I've been watching it for 25 years or so, and every so often it always used to be that for a couple of years they'd have a posh restaurant. It was the only restaurants that anyone in Weatherfield would ever go to, and Valandro's was one for a bit, and I'm sure there was one called The Clock for a little bit. But they don't need to anymore, and this is part of the problem with having so many businesses on the street. It's just another reason not to leave the street. But yeah, Valandro's was Leanne's restaurant that she burnt down, and it seems to have risen from the ashes like a glorious phoenix, under new management, I assume.
I also don't know whether it is like a funny comment, but like in real life, if your girlfriend had burned down a restaurant for the insurance money,
you probably wouldn't go
back.
No, it was a bit mean of them to.
But the calamari, Michael, it's really good.
And poor Leanne, she's got her own issues to this week already, hasn't she? In the space of 2 scenes in this week's episode.
Another breadcrumb story with Ollie. They've taken him to messy play on Wednesday, and he's the only one that's come back covered in paint. And Leanne...
Well, I tell you what, the other kids aren't doing it right then, are they?
No, what the hell is messy play if it's not to get messy?
I don't know.
Well, unless maybe it was messy chess or something. And it's like, where did he get the paint from?
Messy chess.
Messy chess. Just whatever moves you want. Leanne says to Steve that she's worried about Ollie. He's not hitting his milestones. He can't even hop. And Steve just playing it down, like, don't worry about it. He's fine. He's intelligent. It doesn't matter. Everything's going great. Like you would imagine, like completely in character for both of them. Steve, not bothered at all. Leanne, completely neurotic.
Yeah. Leanne still not coming off as being particularly likeable. I need there to be some kind of diagnosis on this, just so that Leanne can be justified. Because at the moment she's just, as I say, coming off as completely neurotic and unlikable.
I don't think she's coming off unlikable.
She was when on that first scene on Wednesday when she was talking to Steve about taking him to his messy play. She was just being bitch to Steve.
I know, but
then
Steve
was acting like a big baby.
He's an idiot. Yeah. Imagine if you had to co-parent with Steve.
Yeah.
And then you're worried about your kid, and he's like, "Oh, it's fine. I don't care."
So it seems like he's not developing at the correct rate, and
the expected
rate, and I don't know.
There's so
enough.
Much speculation,
and I know I'm a teacher and everything, but I'm not an early years teacher,
and that's a specialty,
Yeah, I don't know enough to be able to suggest what might be wrong with Ollie at the moment. He's had seizures. He obviously was very, very tired around his birthday.
Well, he was like flopping around in the cafe in one scene this week, and she was trying to get him to stand up, and he
seems to be having some kind of problem with his motor skills. I hope we find out soon.
Heartbreaking.
Well, what are some theories that you've read?
I've read that
they're not spoilers.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Well, obviously, I don't know what it is, so I don't know if it's a spoiler or not.
Well, go on,
but then. I don't know that anyone does know.
I don't know whether anyone knows. I don't know whether they've revealed what.
Well, somebody said it could be autism.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, autism? And then I looked into it a bit more, and I think if it is autism, it's actually a really good idea, because some of the things that are symptoms of it are not things that I realised. Like, for example, seizures.
Oh no! I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, like some of it is to do with like comorbidity, where if you have one thing, you're kind of more likely to have something else that kind of goes along with it. So, autism and epilepsy go together sometimes. But also, I think I need to look this up again. So perhaps not correct, but I also think that some people who have autism may also have seizures as well.
Would be very difficult, to have a young child
That was what I said on the Facebook group.
displaying those symptoms and being able to act them unless they had an actor
I just think
is autistic. Or...
No. I think that I did think that initially. I was like, it's going to be very challenging, and it's going to come down to putting a lot of pressure onto a young actor, and perhaps that might not work out. But then I thought to myself, really though, in a story like this, a lot of the time the drama is the parents talking about what's happening, and really all you need is for the kid to sit on a chair in the doctor's room while Dr. Gaddis says, I'm sorry, it's X, Y or Z. I mean, the thing is about a lot of childhood illnesses is you can get away with shoving them in a bed and telling them to shut up and sticking a tube up their nose, like we got with Hope with the cancer storyline. Just lay down and pretend you're tired.
Yeah, and then the drama was everything with else. Tyrone and...
Yeah, exactly. Like the drama revolves around the parents, but that's going to be heartbreaking. I don't think we can cope with that.
I hope that Leanne is able to elicit some sympathy, because
she will be able
there's
to.
a very fine line between that and
Jane Danson's a great actress.
She is.
But Leanne can sometimes be...
She can really grate.
Unlikable and unsympathetic.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where it is, because it's been teased for so long now, and it's an opportunity for Nick to get involved, obviously, for Toya to be involved in there, and it's been so long since Leanne's had something meaty to get her teeth into. I'm cautiously optimistic about this at the moment.
This is another example of like why I sympathise with people who find the Yaz storyline difficult to watch, because I would find this difficult to watch, because again it's another medical thing, and just the idea of having a child that's sick is the worst nightmare. But one of the reasons why it's like I keep thinking to myself, okay, it's okay if I don't have children, because I think when you imagine having children, you just imagine the best possible scenario, but I couldn't cope with having a sick child. Or or a child that died. I can't. My heart would break. I couldn't live with it.
No, I still think that there is a chance that Ollie's going to die in the story.
I can't.
It's on the fringes. They could go down that route. I think, especially if they don't want to have the child actor having to portray a character with autism. If they kill him off, or if they have him have a bit in the middle of the road and then a car splats him.
It's too sad. It's making me sad to think about it. But like you can't die of autism.
No, exactly. But I mean,
could you die of a seizure related to it? I don't know.
I mean, if it seemed,
I'm not going to look it up until I know what it is.
Okay.
I'm not going to research things.
If Corrie had stayed at the originally plans,
by now.
Yeah, we would. There'd be a lot of things that we'd know at this point. Right. So after all of that.
Anyway, it does seem inevitable that something's wrong with Ollie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's not going to be like, he was just tired because he was playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's something wrong with it, so I hope we get to find out next week or the week after at least. So, after all that then, Gemma, we come to the scoring of the week, and last week we both immediately said 4.5, and it was not a 4.5 week this week for me. I did really enjoy Monday's episode. Shelley King, fantastic performance. Everything before the break on Monday I thought was amazing. I loved that Imran is involved in it.
When Imran turned up, I was like, ah.
Yeah, but
I tell you what, it's a good job that Adam and Sarah didn't get back earlier in the week.
Why?
Because he might have taken the case.
Very true.
Might have got Imran too involved.
Where's Paula at the moment? So, but yeah, the other stories just they didn't quite have the right momentum. They didn't quite get going for me, and that's just a victim of the way the scheduling's going at the moment, I think. But Kelly and Gary seems to be going very, very slowly. The David thing, slowly. The Steve, Leanne and Ollie thing, slowly.
Wait a minute.
And I know there was only 2 episodes that they could have even featured in. It's not their fault.
I know, but there's only 3 episodes a week, so shut up.
Yeah, I know. But it felt like it lost momentum, and I just wanted it to be just the Yasmeen story all through the episode throughout the whole of the week, and I couldn't get what I wanted. I think I'm going to go 3.5 egotistical tenacious out of 5 this week. I think that's a fair score from me.
I'm going to give it 4.
I thought you might.
I'm going to give it 4 sweaty goths. Because I really liked when Asha said to Nina, what's it like to be a goth? And she said, it's great, apart from summer when I get really sweaty. Because I had gothy friends and I like gothy things, but I never really got into the goth stuff just because I would get too hot. I know I would. And also I had dogs in the house, so you can't wear black.
Yeah, you can't wear black, can you? Character of the week. I mean, there's a couple of good choices. I mean, last
fringe
week...
McBangs.
No, you can't.
Yes.
Okay, you can give it to her if you want to, but you have defended her. Are you going to give it to her?
I'm going to give it to her, yeah, because people are mean to her. And if people hadn't been mean to her, then none of this would have happened, because my disproportionate defence of her is in reaction to the unearned attacks that she suffered.
Well, I hope that the actress listens to this, because she did she follow us on Twitter this week, or you followed her?
I followed her. I don't listen. I'm not blowing smoke up her ass. I truly believe that she is the ultimate Weatherfield cop.
What? I'm going to get Sandra Huggett on you.
With the best hair.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think so.
DS McKinnon could take DS Abney in a fight. And Beckett could at the moment.
What do you mean?
They
Michael, why?
Because they're great.
What cases did they solve?
I'm sure they've met the other
DS Abney has only just begun to investigate. Listen, I like both of those as well.
Right.
I'm just being contrary.
I know. So I could go Imran, I could go Yasmeen, I could go Geoff, I could go
Sally,
Nina.
Yeah, Nina's probably going to be a lot of people's pick.
Yeah.
She was great. Or Asha, Gary, Michael, Adam.
No. I think I'm going to go Nina this week.
Nice.
I mean, Imran was lovely, but he was just doing his job.
Well, how do you know Nina's not an artist? She's probably on Etsy.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Nina for her defence of Asha, which she didn't need to do, but she saw that the young girl was troubled and jumped right in there fist first.
A fellow sufferer of bullies, didn't she?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not going to let someone else suffer, because she's slightly older, isn't she?
She is.
Asha.
I mean, Asha was at her lowest point up until very recently, and it seemed that drawing that she got through the post today has started to lift her
spirits.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that Asha might become a goth? Do you think she might end up she might get a crush on Nina?
I don't know.
A girl crush,
She might do.
Like,
and
I admire and want to be you.
Well, maybe, and I don't know whether we know anything about Nina's sexuality yet either, do we?
I thought that.
Well, I mean, Asha has fancied Corey.
Asha likes Corey. I did briefly think, is Nina gay? And then I was like, okay, she is, but I don't want to stereotype female relationships. Like, as soon as some girl does something nice, she must be gay.
I know.
Because girls can be nice without fancying other girls.
And you can also lead an alternate lifestyle without being gay as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I thought. I thought to myself, I don't want them to be like, she's a goth, she's probably gay as well.
Mm.
And also she drew a picture of Roy, and I don't think that she has a crush on him.
No.
Although it would be nice to have a proper bisexual character for once who actually goes, I'm bisexual.
Paula has said that. Right, okay, so 3.5. Yeah, she has. 3.5 for Nina Fringe McBangs. Fine.
I'm not changing it for anybody.
Let's move on to the news.
She's done nothing wrong. I'm talking about Yaz and Fringe McBangs.